Today we're diving into one of the most essential skills when it comes to playing a MOBA, map knowledge. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or completely new to the genre entirely, understanding how the map plays can be the difference between you going 12-0 or well 0-12. So stick around as I break down everything you need to know about the map in Deadlock. Let's kick things off by discussing why map knowledge is so important in Deadlock. The map has its own flow, choke points, and well some rather unsuspecting spots that can definitely give you an advantage on the enemy. Knowing these inside and out lets you predict enemy movement, set up ganks on players, and will practically control the flow of the game. If you understand where enemies typically travel and the best angles to hold, you'll typically be able to outposition your opponents. Plus, this general map awareness lets you call out enemy positions a lot more effectively. Next up, we have the high ground, or more specifically, the bridge that overhangs the lane. Controlling this spot in the early stages of laning gives you a much better vantage point at either poking the enemies, controlling how the minions are going to act, and it usually allows you to see if an enemy player is coming for a gank on your lane. Now, besides the high ground, there's actually a ton of flanking points, or routes, whatever you want to call it, that a lot of people seem to forget about in Deadlock. Pretty obvious that these are less traveled paths that let you sneak up behind enemies. Knowing these routes lets you catch the enemy off guard, and for some reason, people really don't understand that paths and routes like these exist in this game. A lot of the time, I can catch people off guard at this shop by doing a simple flank around and catching them when they're browsing the books. So, well, how do you learn the map quickly? There's a simple few tricks that can help speed up the process. First, I recommend either playing a custom game or doing the bot matches. This way you can explore the map without the pressure of a live match. Again, you can either do bot games, or if you go into your console commands by pressing F7 at the main menu, then type in map space streets underscore test. This puts you into your own private lobby by yourself. Then you have the ability, just like in CSGO, TF2, or any other Valve game that has a console, to be able to turn on cheats and fly around the map with no clip. You can enable cheats trying to figure out what the best spots are. And why don't you spend some time hitting that like and subscribe button? But anyways, spend time running through all the paths, experimenting with different angles, and getting a better feel for the layout. As again, in Deadlock, the layout for this specific MOBA is 4 lanes rather than 3. It's also important to familiarize yourself with spawn points, especially spawn points for jungle camps, and the unique features that this game has to offer like jump pads and teleporters, as well as the zipline ropes that go in and out of buildings. Stuff like that makes a whole lot of difference. Now, probably the most important thing and your best friend when it comes to a MOBA is the minimap. The minimap, it's your best friend. The minimap will help you understand the map's layout faster, especially when you're still learning. You need to make it a habit of checking it regularly during a match, so pretty much all the time. The minimap gives you so much knowledge and a ton of key factors that a lot of players seem to glance over and not really care about. But now that you know and understand the map better, how do you actually use these skills to take map control? Map control, this is where map knowledge really starts to shine. Good map control means, just like other games, giving you and your team an advantage when it comes to taking fights, pulling off successful ganks, controlling different jungle camps, when to know when to push walkers, guardians, shrines, the boss, the urn, and all that jazz. One super effective strategy when it comes to gaining map control is, well, splitting up your team. Most of the time, since it is 2 duo lanes together, most of the time you want to keep your duo players together, maintaining their map control, and while other times you have your solo lane players split pushing. Although this isn't always going to be the case, as you can group up for team fights, pushing objectives together, or, well, in other cases, just doing your own thing. One thing to keep in mind though is that if you are split pushing or doing your own thing at the jungle or just farming for souls in general, that you have to quickly understand how to rotate quickly between specific areas. Keeping the enemy guessing is the key to maintaining map control. Now let's talk about some common mistakes players make, how to avoid them. First and most obvious thing is don't overextend and place yourself in a really bad scenario. Just because you know the map well and the flow doesn't mean you should push too far. Whether you know the ins and outs of how people are going to be pushing you, randomly push lanes. Again, always make sure where you are on the map compared to your teammates, giving you the best chance of pushing lanes and objectives easily and safely so you don't get caught lacking. Secondly, don't neglect cover. And what I mean by cover is using the veils, the side alleyways, and other spaces to your advantage. Don't just randomly float around the map going down the general lanes. It's much better to rotate to fights or different lanes through, say, back alleys, behind veils, and other ways so you're not shown on the map and easily detectable by enemy players, whether that means avoiding the LOS of enemy players or enemy minions so you don't appear on the map, or even using teleporters to get the jump on people. Using teleporters to rotate, pull off really nice ganks, and just generally floating around the map is something that I see a lot of players overlooking. What makes the difference between a decent player and a really good player. And that's it for today's guide on mastering map knowledge in Deadlock map, or trying to sharpen your skills. Understanding the layout and flow is key to dominating the enemies. And remember, practice makes perfect, so get active. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tips and tricks on Deadlock. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.